applying sunscreen. Whether I wore makeup or not, this is a step I never skip. I gently work it into the skin and give it a moment to settle before moving on. Next, I'm going in with concealer. I apply it very selectively, focusing mainly on blemishes and my under eyes. Since I do have acne, I just place it exactly where I need the coverage. I am blending everything in using my finger. Apart from the control it gives, the warmth also helps the product melt into the skin. After that, I apply one thin layer of foundation all over the face, just to even everything out. Cushion foundations are great for this kind of look because they create a very natural finish and let the skin still look like real skin. That works especially well for video game characters with a more realistic art style, where the makeup should enhance the face without looking overly heavy. Then I go in with a second layer only in certain areas where I want more coverage. This way I can build intensity while keeping the overall base soft and natural. Now I'm starting to map out the face using liquid contour. I apply it to the forehead first, close to the hairline. Then I move to the temples and the cheekbones. After that, I add contour to the chin and along the jawline to add balance to the overall shape. Once all the placement is done, I blend everything out using a sponge, keeping the finish diffused and seamless. I use whatever's left in the cushion to softly go over the areas where the contour may have shifted too far. I go back in with my finger for more detailed sculpting. I start with a small amount right above and underneath the tip of the nose. Then I move to the mouth area. I take my time here, working slowly to add subtle depth without overpowering the lips. Next, I add more contour along the nose, bringing the product up over the bridge, and I go back in until I'm satisfied. After that, I apply contour around the eyes, using very small amounts to add depth and connect everything with the rest of the face. The step is all about control and precision, and I keep blending with my fingers until everything looks seamless. Now moving on to powder. I start by setting the eyelids and the under eye area to prevent creasing. From there, I gently pull the remaining product down the sides of the nose. This helps soften and blend the contour transitions even more. Next, I set the smile lines to make sure the base stays smooth. After that, I use powder directly on blemishes to lock in the concealer. To finish, I matte down the forehead, which is PP, personal preference. Now comes the eyeshadow, and this is where things start looking a little chaotic, but trust the process. I apply a lot of eyeshadow here around the eyes, intensifying the areas I already shaped with contour, but also going darker in other places. At this stage, I'm not worried about blending at all, I'm just placing color wherever I want depth later. I go over the edusol and I start refining the shape. I also deepen the contour around the lips and slightly under the nose. Once everything is down, I start blending. A lot. I use the appropriate brushes and slowly soften all the edges. This step takes time, but it's what makes the whole look come together and feel intentional rather than messy. For the lips, I start with a neutral shade that makes the lips look hydrated and soft. Then I apply a pinker shade right in the center and blend it outward slightly. This gives the lips more dimension and a fuller appearance. I tap a bit of the color under the nose with my finger to softly mix the tones and keep everything harmonious. Now for the eyebrows. Since my eyebrows are partially shaved off from a previous cosplay, I need to completely redraw a lot of hair. The brows for this look are very thick and unkempt, so I focus on drawing individual hair rather than creating a clean shape. I use eyeshadow to fill in the brow area and create a darker base. Then I go over my natural hair with a burgundy mascara to tint them and match the overall color palette. Using eyeshadow, I create a soft eyeliner. This gives the eyes a darker definition while keeping the look natural. It also subtly enlarges the eyes, which is perfect to match her youthful appearance. Using the remaining product on the brush, I deepen the e.l.f. to add dimension while keeping the colors cohesive. I used the tiniest amount of concealer to highlight the area between the waterline and the eye bag. Once I'm happy with the base, I move on to freckles. I'm using a self-mixed spray made from eyeshadow and setting spray to mist fake freckles across my face. This is my first time trying this method and it's definitely a bit messy, but it's also much faster for creating a large amount of freckles. I let some of the darker spots dry and then clean them up with a bit of concealer. After that, I use a freckle tint to add more precise freckles in specific areas where I want them to stand out just a little bit more. And since I'm a schlauer Fuchs, I also use it to cover some of my blemishes. With a dark brown eyeliner, I slightly extend the inner corners of my eyes and clean up the outer wing to enhance the eye shape. Then I apply mascara. First I go in with the burgundy colored one that I used before to bring in a subtle red tone into the lashes. And then I follow with a brown mascara just for some extra volume and balance. Now that there's more contrast in the face, I go back in with eyeshadow to deepen certain areas again. I also go back in with my eyebrow pencil, just to touch up the eyebrows a little bit. And I re-emphasize the aguicel. And because I notice my lips being a little too glossy, I just matte them down slightly with a neutral toned eyeshadow. To finish the lips, I darken the corners of the mouth and draw subtle lines outward to make the lips appear wider and more expressive. Finally, I lock everything in with setting spray, and the makeup is complete. After setting the makeup, I put in the contact lenses. They completely transform the look and help capture the pale, cold gaze of the Descendre family. And of course, the wig can't be missing. And this is an optional step, but I like to bind my chest to create a flatter silhouette. And that's the finished look. Thank you so much for watching my first video and for taking the time to be here. I hope to see you in the next one.